Welcome to the 𝕻𝖊𝖜 𝕻𝖕 podcast.
Oh, shit! What you waiting for?
What the fuck is up, everyone? 𝕹𝖊𝖜 here, back at it again with a new podcast episode. That never gets old. I don't give a shit. When you have your own podcast, you can choose how you want to do your intros, how you want to do them, okay? But anyway, today, this is a fun fucking episode, and I want to thank Austin Visser, the vocalist of The Undertaking. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and hang out and chit chat and, you know, shoot the shit, right? It was a lot of fun. The Undertaking is a sick new band that is on Solid State Records. They just got signed. Okay, I have never had a conversation with a Solid State band, so I was super excited. We talked about so much stuff, but I don't want to give it away. I want you guys to check it out. But we're gonna play music, so hang out, grab a beer or a coffee. I don't know what time of the day it is for you, whatever time this approaches you. Okay, I just want to thank you for checking out the podcast. Okay, first off, hit the follow button, okay? Make sure that you give me an awesome rating. Please help out how you can. Okay, you don't have to support monetarily. If you want to support, hey, that's cool too. Okay, if you have some extra bucks, there's a link in the description. It's through Anchor. You can donate as little or as much as you want. So if you feel like being a nice guy, help the podcast. But anyway, this is a fun one, and I can't wait to show you guys. So let's get into it. I'll stop talking. In the mid-roll, we're going to play my pick for the hidden gem, 𝕻𝖕. Okay? The Undertaking. Let's go. This is a fun one. Hope you guys are ready. What's up, my dudes? 𝕹𝖜 here. This is 𝕻𝖕 𝕻𝖕 podcast. Thank you for tuning in, as always. And today we're having fun because we're hanging out with Austin, the vocalist from The Undertaking, San Diego, California. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Seth? Thanks for having us on, man. We're stoked to be here, and let's rock and roll.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we were kind of talking before the show officially started, but you know, I didn't really get to ask you how you were doing. So, like, you know, how's it been, and what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, man, life is like in that weird stage right now where we're like kind of starting to go back to normal, but then also like still one foot in, like, we just got through with this pandemic, and this past year has been crazy. So trying to like kind of figure out how life moves forward, but then also like kind of cautiously doing so. So we have my wife and I have 3 kids, so we're kind of trying to figure out what like school looks like in the fall. And then, yeah, man, life is good. This last year was hard, but we had a pretty dope year because obviously the Undertaking got signed to Solid State, and then my wife and I had our 3rd kid. So like there was like a lot of crap going on, you know, with people getting furloughed and losing jobs and stuff. But then we actually had like a pretty sick year. So it's kind of been funny to like balance the like, oh yeah, that was a tough year, but then also we were like, oh yeah, that was pretty dope.
Right. I feel you on that. And that's interesting that you're a family man and you're killing it because you guys just got signed to Solid State. So that's really awesome for all the metalcore dads out there or whatever. That's really
never
sick.
Give up on your dream, man. That's what we're saying.
Definitely. How long have you been married?
Shoot, my wife and I just celebrated 11 years of marriage. So we've been married for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've been married for 2 years.
Oh, you go for it. How long?
2 years.
Nice. You're working your way up.
Definitely getting there. I'm not quite on that stature yet, but how old are you, by the way, if you don't mind me asking?
Of course, no. All questions are on the table. I'm 33. Right. So everybody in our band, we're all in our like early 30s. But that's part of our story, dude, is we got out of the scene. We used to play in bands all the time. We got out of the scene and then had families, got jobs, and then realized at some point, like, dude, we gotta still play music. And so that's how the Undertaking started. Is we just got together and said, no, we got to do this. And then I think because we have families, we have jobs, and all that stuff. Like, we really were efficient and effective with our time. Like, I'm taking time away from my family to play shows or practice. Like, it's got to be good. And so that's part of why we like really hit the road running, and then kind of accidentally fell into getting signed and stuff. So.
That's crazy, but that's really cool though, man. Like, okay, so let's talk about, the whole getting signed thing for a second, while it's on the table. But like, so I was looking back on earlier, discography or whatever. And as far as like on Spotify, all I could see as far back as like 2019. So at that point, like, when did you put out music to the point of you getting signed?
Yeah, dude. So the story goes in July of 2018, that's when we started to get together. And so we wanted to get together with our buds, play some music, try to get some shows. So at some point you started to realize, okay, how do we get shows if we don't have any music out there? And so it's Spotify and how not easy it is to record stuff, but how convenient it is. Like, you don't have to like travel around to go to a studio. We started demoing stuff out in 2018 and eventually recorded the Scavengers EP. So then that's when we put that out in early 2019, because we're like, okay, we want to play shows. We got to have music to play those shows. So we record these 5 songs and kind of accidentally make something that we were proud of. Like, we intended to make demos, and then they're like, oh, these are pretty sick songs. They sound good enough at the time. And then kind of released those songs out there. Then we started to pick up shows. And then at that point, we just said, like, okay, screw it, let's keep writing. And that's when you see the 3 singles that are on Spotify about Ghosts, Witch Rituals, and Who's Afraid of 11 Ghosts. Mm-hmm. And so we DIY'd those songs completely on our own, recorded in our own homes and studios and stuff, and then put those out. And that's kind of where we got linked up with Joey Bradford, who's the guitarist of The Used. Okay, and cool. So he mixed About Ghosts and Witch Rituals. And then the pandemic is about to happen, and we're in like 2020 now, and it's like, okay, there's no shows out there. What should we do? Let's write. So then that's when we created Who's Afraid of 11 Wolf. At the time, Joey was still on tour with The Used, so he got us in connection with a buddy of his named Tanner Sparks, who he mixes and masters all Switchfoot stuff and Colony House, and does some really cool indie stuff. So he took a hack on our song, which we were stoked on how it turned out. And then right before we were about to release it, we're gonna partner up with a distribution company, and there's some stuff in the works. And then Joey got wind of us doing that, so he said, "Oh, time out! Like, don't release it, don't do anything with it." And he floated it out there to a couple labels, and then that's caught the attention of Solid State. So then within like a couple days, we're about to release the song. We pressed pause on that, and then we're about to sign with Solid State. So it was like this whirlwind of phone calls and decisions that we had to make in like May of 2020. And then later in August 2020, so last year in August, that's when we went to Joey's studio here in San Diego, and that's when we recorded Funeral Psalm. So yeah, so like, we're very much a little baby band, and like haven't been doing it for very long, but just kind of made the right connections and talked to the right people and made music that I think resonated with people. And that's something, like, I try to be humble and I'm not out here saying like, oh, our music is the best. And we're like, yeah, we worked hard, we did this. And people are like, yeah, but people also liked your music. And you're like, oh yeah, that's like a really big part of it. Definitely.
No, you guys, I was looking up like, your monthly listeners, and they're pretty spread out, and that's awesome because, you're getting coverage in different countries. So yeah, the outreach is pretty incredible there. I don't know, but
we kind of struck gold. Spotify's a little bit of a crazy beast right now because the head metal guy at Spotify doesn't work there anymore. So it's been harder to get playlisting. But when we released Who's Afraid of 11 Wolves, we kind of struck gold with a couple of like the editorial Spotify playlists and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so that was like a big part of that song kind of blowing up on us.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, you guys sound sick, and obviously I'm new. Thank you. I'm a new fan of the band, but yeah, I can't wait to see like what else you guys are gonna put out. Like everything I've heard. I mean, so what is like the band that you don't really like getting compared to? Just out of curiosity. Is there a band that gets brought up a lot and you're just like,
that's a good question, because the band that gets brought up often is Every Time I Die.
Okay.
But we'll take it. They're the best. So obviously we would love to be compared to the best, but then also we don't, like, we think we cover a lot of different genres within like metalcore and hardcore. And so just to say like that we sound like one band, I think is a little bit lazy at times, because there are so many influences that get pulled out. Because then people are even like old school solid state stuff like 𝕹𝖊𝖜 𝖻𝖕 𝕻𝖕. We've heard 𝕻𝖕 and the Sons of Disaster, a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, the one that kind of comes up the most is Every Time I Die, which I think it's because it's like hardcore kind of rooted in rock and roll. And then Keith kind of does like the yelling and singing, and I do that a little bit too, but try to be careful not to riff too hard on certain influences, because we don't want to just sound like a cookie cutter of a certain band, you know?
Well, I don't think you do. I just think
Thank you.
I hate like talking to some people. I'm not gonna say all people and generalize, but some people I do talk to, they're always like, dude, this band sounds like this band and this band. And I'm
exactly.
Like, and I don't know why, that just ends up being like a big pet peeve of mine.
Well, it was something that was hard for us, because at first you're like, oh, you guys sound like this. And then it's like, no, we do in a certain way, but we also don't, because we're our own thing. You know, you mix all the pieces of our band together and we're a completely different thing. So
exactly. And like, there's only like so many different notes that you can play, and so many different, tones that your voice can make because of like how it's built, organically or whatever. Like, there's only so many possibilities.
Well, and that's the thing. I love you saying that, because that's it. Like, there's nothing's original at this point. It's just us putting a little spin on it. Everything's been done. That
is so true. But like, I know I'm kind of jumping around, but like earlier when I did ask your age, I'm actually 30 myself. So
nice.
Maybe that's why I got drawn to your band so heavily. No, I'm just kidding. But it's really sick though. I love seeing people that like are in their 30s and just like, do you feel old? Do you feel like an old man? Like when you talk to people, you're like, I'm an old man now. I'm 33.
No, I think that comes with perspective. Like I have some older friends in their 40s and stuff, and they always look at me like I'm like a kid. So I think we realize like we're still not old guys. We're still young on like the perspective of life. But then, yeah, we're playing and hanging out with some of these younger kids at shows and stuff. And that's when you're just like, oh yeah, we're in a totally different stage of life, especially with like kids and stuff. But I don't know. I don't feel old. My body's starting to tell me that I'm getting old when we're like jamming out and going crazy and stuff. Like I got one of those massage guns, so I'm like always like working my neck out, sore the next day.
Yeah, dude, I feel you on that. I've been hiking a lot because I've just been getting fucking lazy, just like working all the time. Do you like?
Sure.
What is your outlet? I guess it's outside of playing music.
I used to play basketball all the time, but then when we started the band, I stopped playing that. So I try to run like 2 or 3 miles every day. I got an exercise bike in my garage, so I'll hop on that as often as I can. But then like Keith, one of our guitarists, used to be a professional triathlete.
Wow.
And so we're all trying to stay active and stuff. But yeah, that's running's a big one for me. And that's like we were talking about earlier, like listening to music and stuff. So that's when I like zone out for a half hour or so and listen to a new album or some bands.
That's really cool. Well, now that you mentioned listening to music, I'm going to put you in the hot seat for a second. Let's play the first game called the Hot Round. And basically it's just band either or questions. I'll ask.
Okay. All right, let's go.
Just say the first thing that comes to mind. Don't overthink it. And we'll kind of discuss your answer. But all right, so we'll start off with the first one. Just quick, fire it off. Which one comes to mind? Have Heart or Counterparts?
Oh, Counterparts.
Oh, sick. So are you a big Counterparts fan?
We dig Counterparts, but also they're the guy that did their album artwork, Trey Hales, did our album artwork.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so Trey's the guy who does all their branding and artwork, and yeah, he's the guy that we that Solid State got us in connection for funeral psalms and like the bird that you have behind you and stuff. He did all that stuff.
That is awesome. Didn't even know that, but that's awesome. That I'll have to plug that in some kind of a promo. But that's really interesting. All Are you familiar with Half Heart? Do you listen?
No, so that's what I'm afraid of, man, is you're going to say some bands and I'm like, I have no idea who that is, but I hate that because they're going to be like, what the heck?
Oh, whatever, dude. Like, I'm that guy most of the time. Like, people are like, oh, have you heard of this? Like, I just found out about Hail the Sun, which I'm sure everyone knows about.
I've seen they've been releasing music lately. Their stuff is sick.
Yeah. Like, I just listened to someone put me on their new album. One of my friends actually, someone.
Oh, tight.
That's disrespectful, but it's a really good album. Their new album's sick. But anyway, let's get into the second one here. This one's gonna be interesting. Silverstein or Census Fail?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I never got into that style.
Yeah.
And so I'm very aware of both those bands, but that was like never my thing. So I'll say Silverstein because they just put out some new music too. But yeah, Census Fail, I never got into that.
That's interesting. After we get through these, I want to ask about like your early influences and like what you grew up listening to. But all right, let's get into this next one here. The Chariot or Oh Sleeper?
Oh, The Chariot all day long. Mad respect for Oh Sleeper because they're label mates of us currently. But The Chariot's one of my like probably top 3 favorite bands of all time.
That's really sick. And so they were on Solid State like earlier, right?
Yep.
And they moved on to like Good Fight or something like that.
Yep, exactly.
All right, that's interesting. That's a band that I really need to dig deeper into. That was kind of a little bit before me getting into this type of music.
Sure.
So I'll have to backpedal a little bit.
Dude,
but like,
they came out right when I was in high school because then that was the 𝕹𝖉𝖕. Then Josh moved on to The Chariot. And that was in like 2003, 2004. So I was like a junior or senior, and I was like a sophomore or junior in high school when that one came out. So The Chariot's first album was like a huge influence on mine.
Yeah, that's really cool. I saw that band kind of like attributed to your band as far as like a Spotify playlist. You guys ended up being on The Chariot's playlist a lot or something like that. So that's really cool. Yeah. And I really like the This Is Solid State playlist currently on Spotify. Yeah, that one's a really sick playlist.
They do a good job of keeping that up to date with all the new stuff coming out.
For sure. All right, so next one. So this will be interesting. I'm not even sure if you like listen to like Gent, but I want to see what you say here. 𝕍𝖳𝖈 or Era?
Oh, Era. They just didn't they just put out a new album?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that was sick.
Yeah, it was really cool. I listened to that. I listened to that pretty religiously for the first couple of days when it dropped.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm a huge Era fan. I really like it. And I listened to, I forget which album it was with the Jellyfish on it, but that's when I got into them. I think that was around 2016.
I think if I'm correct, Era had their artwork done. They have some artwork done by the guy who does some of our merch.
That's cool. It's like the 6 degrees of everyone.
I love it. That's like my favorite thing, man. It's like that's part of the game, man. It's all who you know and like the different connections.
So like everyone's kind of like plugged into everyone somehow.
Exactly.
All right. Let's see this one. I'm really curious about this one for you. 𝕊𝖈𝖳 or Trey?
I got to shout out to Trey because Brandon, their singer, drummer / current singer, is one of our buddies.
No kidding. That's
sick. So our manager is Joey Bradford, and they played in Hell or High Water together. Mm-hmm. So Brandon's one of our buds.
Dude, that's really cool. All right. Let's see on this one. While She Sleeps or Holding Absence?
While She Sleeps, because their new album is dope.
You like it? Do you like their earlier stuff?
I never really got into them too much, so I know that they've been pushing it. Their PR company's the same as ours, so we've kind of been in the same release cycle. So it's been fun to pay attention to what they're doing, and they're freaking crushing it with like their pop-up shops, and like they killed this release.
They really did, and so I guess their new thing is what all right, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm still trying to figure this out, but they bought this huge warehouse space, and they're using that as like kind of like a headquarters.
Yeah, I don't know if they purchased it, and if they did, holy cow, that's so dope. Because I'd love to like own a warehouse that's like a band headquarters. But yeah, I saw that they did like a they did that crazy music video. I saw them drop like that huge freaking banner. Like they're killing it. It's fun. It's inspiring to watch what other bands are doing, especially for us. Like we're lower on the totem pole in the grand scheme of band size and audience and stuff. So then we're always trying to aspire to be like, okay, if that's what they're doing, like we're going to shoot for that and try to do the same thing.
That's so cool though. But I mean, respectively in the short amount of time, you guys have really good numbers. Honestly.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
For, you know, are you just about to drop? It's a full length, right? So you're about to drop your debut full length?
Yep.
Shit, I mean, you're just going off of EP numbers. So that's, dude, when this thing drops, I'm telling you, it's a matter of time for sure.
Well, that's going back to the who we get compared to thing. It's like, hey, just wait for this whole album to come out. You're going to get a really good idea of what we sound like. So we're really excited for Friday. So April 30th is when Funeral Psalms comes out, and we can't wait for people to hear it. Definitely.
And if you're listening, it's out. So go ahead and listen to that. And,
heck yeah. Stream it. Throw it in your playlist. That's if I could plug that for a second, if you're listening to this and you haven't checked it out, or if you have and you like the music, throw it in a playlist and just kind of press play and let that thing run, because that's a huge thing for any band you support right now. It's all about the algorithm. So as often as we can kind of pop up in Spotify's algorithm, the better. And you know, you have a podcast, so it's like rate and review 5 stars and all that kind of stuff. All that interaction really helps for all the bands. So
definitely. Yeah, for sure, dude. I definitely believe in you guys. And like, I was like, after this podcast, like, hopefully we build a connection. And like, it's just, you know, when you have a connection to a band, it like means a little bit more for some reason. Like going to a show or something like that, or buying merch or whatever it is.
Yeah.
All right. So if there was an alternative music stock market, who would you rather put stock in? Okay. Beartooth or Spiritbox?
I think it's got to be Beartooth, man.
Nice. I wanted to do 2 tough ones that have a really strong following, and Spiritbox is respectively kind of a newer band in regards to, you know, the time frame that Beartooth's been. But
I know. So on that note, you probably want to go Spiritbox because your buy-in on the stock market's going to be lower because you're probably buying Beartooth at a premium right now.
That's true. Yeah, because they're about to just drop an album. So that's a tough one. I don't know. I guess long term, I guess you would want Spiritbox if it was in terms of the question, right? That's
funny. Yeah, I'd probably be into Beartooth because they're going to do they got a couple tours lined up. They got that album coming out. Like they're going to kill it in the next couple months. So maybe you bump in at a higher price, but then you can ride that wave to where maybe you make some money on it.
Yeah, there's the higher ROI.
Exactly.
I see it because they're going to be playing
quick flip.
Yeah, I mean, going off there, did you see the last music video?
Yeah, not for Hell of It, but the one before that, right?
God, I forget what it was, but anyway, it's like one of their newer ones. But they had like all this pyro, and I was like, they're gonna be playing fucking like amphitheaters, and they're gonna be on that like fucking Parkway Drive level, that Fit for a King type thing.
I think that yes, that's gonna happen.
Yeah. I mean, I think they're huge right now. It's just kind of crazy. I don't know. Respectively, it hasn't been that long for them, in my opinion, to be like.
They have like 4 or 5 albums out, but they have a good sound. It's a consumable sound that I think people dig because they can understand. It's like a good entry into hardcore and metalcore because you can kind of understand what they're going on. Because I think that there are a lot of pop influences in their stuff, but yeah, I haven't studied them like a ton, and I'm not super familiar with their like discography and stuff, but their new stuff is pretty dope.
That's cool. Do you like stuff like that, or is it more of like you just kind of know about it?
I know about it. I'm always like going back to our conversation earlier. I'm always listening to new bands because I just want to know like what's out there and what's coming up and stuff. And there's certain things that I gravitate more towards, but which is going to be a little bit more of the chaotic and heavier stuff. So anything that's like too clean, too overproduced, I'm not as drawn to. But yeah, I'm a student of the genre. I love kind of paying attention and seeing what people are doing.
Interesting. Yeah. I kind of wanted to ask, I guess, like more not mainstream, but like just more well known. Just because there is some relatability for people that, because sometimes when I do the obscure bands, like everyone is like, I don't know who that is. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like I used to ask like this band that I just covered, they're like homies now, but Salt Wound or whatever. And I plugged them for like 3 straight episodes and no one really knew who they were, but I guess that was a good thing because, now I'm spreading awareness, I guess. But
yeah, it's like a two-sided equation to that coin, or however you say it. It's just like you want to like get people to, you want to raise awareness to these newer bands, but then also you want to like kind of plug some of the bigger bands too.
Yeah. It's kind of like podcast content because, you kind of have to, in a sense, talk about like what's going on currently, I guess.
Yeah.
And because that's kind of what people are talking about at the moment. So it's like, it's kind of a fucked up thing that you have to play that game in a way, but like the whole hot takes and shit like that. Like I really hate that it's gotten to that, for exposure.
The reaction videos and all that stuff. Like you got to be on like the forefront of it. Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to do those like all the time, and it's ridiculous how many reaction request emails I get. It's fucking ridiculous. But it's cool though. I will plug my email though, but like because there are hidden gems there. So hey, if you want to do that, I'm gonna plug my email, 𝕻𝖊𝖜 Send me your hidden gems. and if you have any homies, dude, plug them.
Well, that's the crazy part, man. It's all about who you know. And like, that's the thing. People have to be willing to, I don't know how to say this. Like you say, hey, send me your hidden gems. Like the only way that you're going to know about bands that you don't know about is if people tell you about them, you know?
Exactly.
And so it's like, yeah, send us stuff. We want to hear about these new bands. Cause then when you find somebody new, there's few things exciting as finding a new band that you really jive with. That's so cool. And that's been fun for us. Like we're getting this new audience with our label connections and all that stuff. And so it's been fun to reach out to people and have these new relationships of like, hey, like we appreciate you guys listening to our music. And it's been a fun ride. But yeah, for us, man, if you I got one for you. If you like kind of like that party rock and roll kind of Bronx, Every Time I Die style, there's a band here in San Diego called 𝕺𝖊𝖜. Okay. And they are killer. So they I think they're sitting on an album that they're going to release eventually. But they have a great live show and we love playing with those guys.
That's sick. I love plugs, man. I love hearing new bands as well. So thanks for the plug. I'll have to check them out later and we'll definitely drop their link in the description. I'll try not to forget.
No, it's all good.
Okay. It's time to take a fucking break. Let's listen to some mosh-worthy music. Okay, I know you guys are ready. It's the lull of the day. You guys are tired and want that energy in your life. Okay, well, we got it. With the Undertaking, this was my pick. I wanted to pick this one. This song, as the kids say, it fucks. Let's get you up to TikTok terms. I know a lot of people here still don't have TikTok. Get on TikTok, okay? I'm on there. At least get on there and follow me. Shit. I need all the help I can get. But anyway, this one is a banger. It's called 𝕻𝖳. I mentioned it in the beginning. You guys should know. This song is sick. I love this. I love it. It's great. Stick around because we still have a lot more conversation left. We have a lot of shit to talk about and cover. You're going to like the second half. Wait till the end too because we talk religion. Okay, I never talked about religion on the show before. You might want to stick around for that. Because maybe you're here because you like Solid State and you like that, Christian core stuff. And we talk about it. So hang out, okay? And we're going to play more music at the end. More music. More music, more fun, more excitement. All right, here we go. Ready? Play.
Sometimes
We're back. Here, I'm gonna ask this last one. Two of the biggest bands right now, I feel like in the whole metalcore thing, but Fit for a King or The Devil Wears Prada?
Oh, you're pitting me against two of our label mates.
Exactly.
I'm legally obligated to not answer that question, but I'll throw my hat in The Devil Wears Prada arena or ring, whatever, because they're about to do Zombies too, and that song they released last week was dope.
Yeah, I think it's Termination, but dude, I'm a huge Devil Wears Prada fan. But I mean, in terms of music, of course, like that's a tough one because I like both a whole like hell of a lot. I'm not gonna lie, like I grew
Fit
up,
for a King is doing some really cool stuff. And that album that they released last year was dope. But then, Devil Wears Prada, man, they're going to kill it with this new album. I mean, just from Solid State standpoint, they've sold out of their vinyl. They've done like 3 or 4 pressings now of that vinyl record because they just keep selling out.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Well, anyway, dude, thanks for playing the hot round. Hope you had fun with that.
That's awesome.
So we were kind of talking about like what your influences are really. What like how heavy are we going here with like your influences?
Where you want me to like start from when I was a kid, man? I grew up with MTV, so I was listening. My mom was like a jazzercise instructor in the 80s, so we were always listening to like pop and stuff, and so we always had the radio on. But then eventually, San Diego, you get introduced to like POD and Dogwood, NIV, some of the old school hardcore legends that came out of San Diego. And so I always kind of say that POD was my intro to hardcore, which is funny because they're not like super, super heavy. Right. But then as soon as you go to POD, then you get introduced to somebody like Blindside. Do you know Blindside, the Swedish band? They used to be on Tooth and Nail, Solid State, but they were killer. And the next thing you know, you're diving into like Norma Jean back in like 2002, 2003. Norma Jean, Every Time I Die, and Hot Damn, their second album or whichever one that was. And so, the influences then for me in the heavy scene are definitely anybody from like 2003 to like 2008. And then another big one for us was As I Lay Dying, which is a little controversial now, but they're from San Diego. So that was like a big one for us, especially North County, San Diego, where we're from. We have a lot of like mutual connections and know a lot of the same people. So we loved watching those guys when they would come to San Diego. But yeah, for me, The Chariot, awesome. Every Time I Die, Under Oath, those are some of my favorite bands that like from the hardcore scene. And then Dillinger, Escape Plan, Converge, anything that's got kind of just a bunch of freaking gain turned up to 11 and just loud and chaotic.
That's really cool. I recently just kind of got into Dillinger. Like I've obviously heard them before, but like I couldn't like sit there and just listen to the whole album. And do you know 𝕻𝖎𝖎?
No, is that?
They're on Equal Vision.
I've recognized the name, and I'm trying to think why I would know them.
They claim to be like emo mathcore. They are emo mathcore. But
interesting. Okay.
But I did a podcast episode. Yeah. I did a podcast episode with those guys, and they basically plugged Dillinger, and I was like, damn, I never really checked them out. So like I've like made a solid effort to fucking like, actually listen to them, give it a chance.
Dillinger is wild, man. I kind of loop Dillinger and Converge in the same boat where it's like a tough to listen to the album front to back is tough because there's so much going on. Right. And after a while, your brain just starts to get fried. But when you really dive into like what they're doing specifically, they do some amazing stuff. And so like Limerick Death on the last album that Dillinger put out is one of my favorite songs because he does some insane stuff with his vocals. And then it pisses me off that I can't talk about this more, but like our live show is, I hate to say this, our live show is chaotic and crazy. We're like never on the stage, jumping around, climbing on people. And so we get a ton of inspiration from watching Dillinger because they just never, ever stopped moving, and old bands like The Chariot and stuff like that, where they're just like constantly going crazy. So I got to plug Dillinger and Chariot when it comes to like our live set and stuff.
That's really cool. I can't wait to see you guys live. Has there been any kind of a discussion about live music here lately, or if you can spill any tea on that?
Yeah, dude, it's coming back. We've booked 2 local shows now because we want to in July. So we're recording this in April. It's going to come out. This podcast, I think, comes out in May. So welcome to May 2021. So we have 2 local shows coming up in San Diego to kind of dust off the rust, so to speak, just to make sure we can still do it. So we're all in North County, San Diego. So we get together and practice every week anyway. So we're kind of working on our set, but we have a show in July and August. And then we're working on a potential tour for the middle of October, where we might go up and down the coast. But the frustrating thing for us at the moment, the frustrating thing for us is we're missing out on all these tours because the tours that are coming back and getting announced now are all the ones that were announced and supposed to happen in 2020. So the whole industry is like kind of backlogged. So then we're probably looking at 2022 as maybe our bigger, like 2-3 week tour where we're going to the East Coast. So anyway, it's a long way of saying the industry is starting to wake up and tours and shows are getting talked about. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for it to come back fully because even venues are not like non-existent. Some of the venues that people used to play at are around anymore. And the venue spaces are going to be a premium for bands coming through towns right now.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think about the tours that are being planned right now? Like, do you think it's going to happen, or like, what is your opinion on it? I guess
I have no idea. And I know it's a little bit controversial to talk about the pandemic and COVID and stuff, but it's like, numbers are starting to go down, and I would hate to open up too soon to have numbers kind of spike again, and all these tours that are getting planned to have to get canceled or postponed because we weren't able to get things under control. I'm vaccinated. My wife's vaccinated. Our band, we got some vaccines. So we're like kind of ready to go. And I would love to be optimistic and hopeful that the industry is just kind of charge forward. We need people to show up to those shows and support bands. And that's the thing maybe that I'm afraid of more than anything is there's going to be a hesitancy to show up to shows because we're not sure if it's going to be safe or what protocols are going to be. But all that said is one of our favorite venues here in San Diego, Brick by Brick, they just announced their first show for August, I believe, the first show back. And people in the comments on Facebook seem to be really excited and cool. Like, hey, we're showing up to this. We got vaccinated. We're ready to go. So I think that there's going to be a hunger nationwide, worldwide for live shows to come back.
Yeah, dude, I can't wait. I'm not going to lie. I'm
man.
I mean, I can't wait. Obviously, you can't wait either. I mean, you guys are gonna obviously want to play that new album you're about to drop. So
that's the big dilemma too, dude, is when should we have dropped this album? Should we have waited 2 more months to be able to tour on it or play some shows? But I think we're releasing it in this a good little pocket for a brand new band where we might be able to this week. I mean, even when we release it, there's been a lot of releases coming out, and it seems like one of the bigger albums that's coming out alongside of us is the 𝕺𝖎𝖎 album. But really, there's not a ton of other bands releasing music this weekend. So it's like, hopefully we can make a big splash and have a little bit more attention, which would be pretty dope.
Yeah, dude, that's going to be sick. To be able to listen to 𝕺𝖎𝖎 and you guys, man, it's going to be,
I know.
It's going to be a sick week.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was just thinking about 𝕺𝖎𝖎 real quick. I do want to play this game real quick though, because I like these little games. They're fun. All right, so I asked you before we started recording if you had Spotify, and this is the Spotify challenge. So if you don't mind, if you can look on your phone.
Yes, sir. Pulling it up right now.
Search your on repeat. I want to know like what your top 5 bands are.
Where do I find that?
Oh, just search it. You can just search on repeat, and it'll pop up your playlist. It's like an auto-generated thing.
I didn't know that was there. Oh, dope.
Yeah, I finally figured out Spotify and realized it's all about playlists. Like I'm a goober, but fucking I've been all about like my on repeat and my release radar release. That's like my main shit.
It sucks. It sucks. Straight up sucks but Spotify is all about playlists. Like that's what it's about.
Yeah, it really is.
All right. So, hold on. So what do you want to know?
I just want to know like what you really been listening to lately. You know.
All right. So the ones that pop up are, so 𝕹𝖊𝖜 𝕻𝖕 is a band. So we're managed by Joey Bradford.
Okay.
And so he manages us, 𝕹𝖊𝖬 𝕻𝖕 and Dead American, and another band called Royal Tusk. There's 4 of us under his little umbrella. And so 𝕹𝖊𝖬 𝕻𝖕 is one of the bands that we look up to. It's Ryan Fluff, Rate My Rigs or whatever his YouTube thing is called. That's his band.
He works with like Finn McKenty and stuff, right? Yeah,
super dope dude. The Chariot's on there, Every Time I Die, and their new stuff. And then I get super nerdy. I'm really into film and music soundtracks, and so I have like a playlist. If I'm just like chilling out at home, it's all piano stuff. So it's
that's cool.
Like this is Trent Reznor actually just won the Oscar for the soundtrack that he did with for Soul. And so
sick.
That album was really good. And then I'm a big fan of The Leftovers. I don't know if you ever watched the TV show The Leftovers on HBO, but that soundtrack pops up on my stuff all the time.
Sick.
Oh, and then one other one is Currents. That's actually one of my favorite new metal bands, metalcore bands that's out there. I love that album.
Dude, me too. Dude, I found them last year. I know they dropped that banger in 2017. What was it? The Place I Feel Safest, maybe?
I can't. Yeah, but I got super into that new album. I'm trying to.
Oh my god.
The way it ends.
The way it ends. Super sick. What was your favorite song?
Really, I don't know. The flag. Some of those choruses, dude, are so catchy. So good. The flag to wave. Da 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 da. I don't know.
Flag to wave is sick.
So good.
I like the Monsters a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That fucking with the parts where he screams like "I gave you everything" or whatever.
Oh, it's so good.
That gives me goosebumps. Like when I first heard it, I was like,
I get drawn to that kind of stuff. So they do like the arf arf and all the noises that you make, because we don't do that at all. And so I can't even make those noises. So I'm super drawn to like Knock Loose and Currents when they do like breakdown call outs and stuff, because that's just like not what we do.
That's sick, dude. I like Knock Loose a lot. I like them a whole lot. Yeah.
The Different Shade of Blue is such a dope album.
Yes. Oh my god, dude. I love that band. Like, cause you kind of mentioned like you, I guess, got out of heavy music for a second, right?
Yeah.
You kind of said something like that. Saying like I have the similar experience. Like I stopped listening to heavy music for a minute. It was around like 2015-ish or something like that. And actually it was kind of like when Warped Tour was like coming to an end. I kind of stopped.
Okay.
But Knock Loose got me back in it like pretty hard, because they just had that energy, and I was like, oh dude, this shit is dope again. Like I'm like, someone has that energy again.
Well, so that's the thing. I feel like hardcore and it thrives on energy and that propulsion. So when you press play on a song, your head is going, and you kind of just feel it in your core. And that's like what we tried to bring with Funeral Psalms. As soon as you press play on our album, like your head is bobbing and you're kind of bouncing around to it. And even playing around with different time structures and song structure, you never lose that momentum. And I feel like sometimes bands can like overcomplicate things where they're trying to get like too funky with a breakdown and time signature that you start to like question like, oh shoot, I don't even know what's going on anymore. It's that like a Knock Loose type of band, Currents, like you kind of just keep bobbing your head to the whole thing. And I love that kind of stuff.
That's so true. And that was kind of something that we talked about with the Kanashi or whatever, but like they were talking about like mathcore and how they didn't want to be like that band that's just like bam 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 bam.
Yeah.
You know? And they were just like, we don't want to be like that mathcore sound.
Well, there's a time and a place for it, but you're talking about Spotify and playlists and consumability that you want. If somebody's just listening to one of your songs, that they can kind of understand like on a surface level, like, oh, there's the chorus, there's a hook. I can understand this. I can consume this easily. And then when you dive into it, it's rewarding because there's a lot more to the music than just that. But
that's really
again,
cool.
I'm not knocking anybody for what they do, because anybody creating music out there, man, freaking go for it. I live on creativity and people doing their stuff. But for us, we tried to kind of have one foot in mathcore, and there's some different time signatures, and there's some chaotic riffs that we have, but everything else is kind of wrapped up in like a consumable package.
No, I feel that, and I'm for mathcore. Like, I really like Between the Buried and Me.
100, yeah, dude,
being that's
so insane.
Yeah, being from North Carolina, I have to support the boys. But anyway, I do want to know this question though. So, like, Solid State, would we still consider that like a Christian core like label or whatever? I don't know if it still has that like stigma anymore. Or, like, what is your take on that?
I don't want to speak out of turn with this answer, but no, I don't think that that's like what they are. And I think that there's a legacy behind the label that attracts a lot of that stuff. But I think if you looked at the current lineup and what they've been putting out the last couple of years, I don't think that that's like the forefront of their messaging.
Yeah, I feel that. And I hope that doesn't come off like rude or anything to anyone.
There's a lot of people out there that are going to get, sorry, I'm talking over you. There's a lot of people that are going to get fired up. They're going to get fired up about that because they want it to be like faith-based and all that stuff. But I think that that's just not like where they're at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just curious because this is kind of like me just being full disclosure, kind of ignorant to like, because I know they got like Silent Planet. I wouldn't consider them like a Christian core band, but I know Garrett, he is Christian, correct? Like he studied a lot of like philosophy, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure faith really has to deal with, because I even with like Fit for a King, I listened to Get Tucked podcast. Ryan Tuck, the bassist, is his podcast, but he talks a lot about he's not promoting like Christianity, and like that's not his like mission statement.
I think it's I don't want to get in trouble by saying this by anybody. But no,
well, we don't have to talk about this.
But there's something about like not making faith be the marketing aspect of your band. Like, I want people, no matter who you are, like I just want people to listen to it at face value, that this is music, we're a band, and at some point, like, just listen to it. And I feel like if you're marketing it towards a certain thing, like you're possibly excluding yourself from different markets. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
That does, yeah.
Like, there's certain people that might not listen to it if you're like, oh, we're like a Christian band or something like that. I think then you're excluding yourself from maybe a demographic that might not even be interested in listening to you at all, because they're like, oh no, I don't want to do that. And for us as a band, we want everybody to listen to us, and we want as many people as possible to click on our music and listen to it. And yeah, if there's stuff that's faith-based, there's stuff that has some like Christian roots to it, like dive into that and let's talk about it. But on a surface level, we're just a band. We're just a couple dudes playing music and having fun,
Definitely, yeah. And it was kind of funny that you mentioned like people getting fired up, but I kind of wanted to know, because I wonder if people will get it twisted with the album title being called like Funeral Psalms, like Psalms in regarding to like maybe so like what is, if we can kind of talk about the album title. I don't really like talking about like album titles and stuff like that.
Sure.
But in this instance I really do. So like what does that represent, I guess?
Yeah, so this album was written in a bad year. Like, it was conceived, written, demoed, produced, recorded, all that stuff in 2020, where there's just like a lot of stuff going on. You have political unrest, you have race unrest, you have a pandemic where people are losing their jobs and furloughed, and there's just like a bunch of bad stuff going on. And so a lot of the lyrics are written from a place of anxiety, depression, kind of just doubt and anger. And so I'm a Christian, and so I really respond well to David in the book of Psalms in the Bible, where he has this very open relationship with God, and he's like yelling at God and cursing at God, and he's frustrated, and God in that instance responds and says like, yeah, dude, give that to me. I want you to have a real open relationship with me. And so then that's our album, is I kind of treated it like this was us kind of just crying out, and hopefully that's a little bit more universal. And if you're not a Christian or you don't relate to any of those themes, at least there's something where you're crying out to some sort of institution or God or whatever it is, and maybe there's frustration and anger that you're projecting out there, and that's like what it gets drawn to. So there's a song on there like 𝕻𝖕𝖈, where that was written in like the pits of depression, and you're crying out for someone to save you and that person isn't responding and isn't there to help you. And I think that that's like, that could be anything. That could be your family, your friends, God, whatever that is, you're crying out and saying like, I'm looking for help, like, please save me. And they're not responding. So yeah, that's, the album is kind of like a modern day Psalm in the sense that it was written in a bad year and we're just kind of crying out and getting our frustrations out there.
That's really interesting though. You know, I'm glad I asked that question now, because I'm getting that to, when I hear it, I can look at it with that perspective in mind.
Sure.
That's really cool. But, you know, I've never really shared this on the show because it's never really came up like that. But I myself am a Christian as well. And, you know, it's kind of funny because, like, I listen to a lot of music and I'm wearing a Cannibal Corpse shirt and, you know, whatever. And whatever, could be drab or whatever. But what is the appeal, I guess? Because I never really got to talk to anybody about this. But, like, what is the appeal to heavy music from, like, a Christian standpoint? Because, you know, most people would attribute Christianity with, like, happy-go-lucky type music. So, like, what is your take?
I think that there's like a lot of people that have a fragile religious background, and they're afraid to jump into like real life situations and feel real emotions. And I'll be completely candid. I think that that's something that we're struggling with now, where it's like people are looking to the church and different institutions to like tell them what they want to hear and make them feel certain things. But I think if you dive into the Bible, that there's a God out there who really wants you to be a real authentic human being and have a real authentic relationship with him. And that's my response, is like, I feel like in hardcore and heavy music, like it's real, it's authentic. There's a lot of emotion in there.
Right.
And then that's a really interesting question. I'm trying to articulate it in my head, because there are a lot of people that don't equate religion with heavy music, and there almost can't be a relationship between them. And that's like a lot of the people being like, oh, heavy music's of the devil and stuff like that. And I think that they're super naive, because like at some point when the organ got introduced to the church, they said that was a instrument from bars, and like that has no place in the church. And that's foolish. So.
Right. No, that's interesting. And I've tried to like kind of self-evaluate like why I listen to heavy music, you know, like being a Christian, I guess. But like there was a point where I felt like it might have been a problem. I don't know if you ever faced that, but it was like when I was a lot early, like younger. And then I was like,
there's something rebellious to it. There's something rebellious about listening to this music that people might say is not, you're not supposed to listen to. And even from my standpoint, man, I'm a vocalist, and I don't even say like I'm a singer in the band. I literally just grab a microphone and I yell into it. And that's like, there's something just so rebellious about grabbing the microphone and yelling as loud as you can and jumping around. And I think that makes people a little bit uncomfortable because of how unhinged it is, you know?
That makes sense. But honestly, like this type of music has like more so than not like helped me in like really shitty bad situations in my life,
of course,
and got me through some really hard times. For you specifically speaking, what was like an album that really kind of got you through maybe a hefty time in your life that really just comes to mind?
Oh dude, I got one for you. So As Cities Burn, Come Now Sleep. I don't know if you listen to As Cities Burn. But their second album, so the first one, they were on Tooth and Nail, Solid State, and the first one, Son, I Left You at Your Darkest, was super dope. And then they came out with the second album called Come Now Sleep, which is a little bit controversial, but I thought that was one of the coolest albums, one of my favorite albums of all time. My wife and I at the time were dating long distance, and so I was still in San Diego and she was up at Azusa Pacific College up in LA. And so as I was driving back and forth, that was an album that I always had on repeat. So that was kind of, I equate that to an interesting season in my life where we're driving on the road a lot and there's a lot of like young love angst.
That's cool though, dude. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude. I was trying to make sure I wrote that down so I don't forget that band. Those are like the best bands though that, you know, get you through those tough ass times in your life.
I love it. Yeah.
I know. So I'm going to plug mine. All right. So I said Half Heart earlier. Songs to Scream at the Sun. I know it's a very lengthy title, but dude, you should check it out if you have time. I think you would really like it.
Songs to Scream at the Sun. Yeah, dude, I'm typing it into Google, so I'll check that out.
They were, I don't know, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were a straight edge, like Boston hardcore band. But they kind of that was kind of where my foot got in the door with like real hardcore music. I would say like real hardcore with air quotes. Just, but anyway, there's my plug. But so like, I don't know. I kind of want to talk about this Christian thing, like one more take on it or whatever. But do you ever like listen to, I don't know, I guess bands that would be considered like satanic or whatever? Is that taboo being a Christian metalhead?
I don't think so at all, because my faith is not based on the music I listen to or even the people that have influence in my life. And I think that that's like a mistake that people make often, is that they put too much stock into like a certain pastor or a certain person, and like an author or whatever, because then what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for failure, because we're humans and that person is going to like stumble and fall. And next thing you know, you put your faith, that you allowed this one person or this one band, this one thing to influence your relationship with God or your faith. And then that person, like I said, makes a mistake and something comes out about their past, that they're like a bad person. Oh, wow, that's happening all the time, you know?
Yeah.
The next thing you know is like, oh my gosh, my faith is completely shaken to its core. And I don't know, like that's when you just got to like dive back into the Bible. And I mean, there's a lot of nuances to that, but same thing with bands. I mean, people put stock in these bands as being like a huge influence to their Christianity, which that's so cool. I love that music has the ability to influence people like that. But the next thing you know, they put out their next album and they're dropping an F-bomb and you're like, oh my gosh, like my childhood is ruined because they're growing and struggling as individuals. And trust me, I don't say that in any sort of condescending manner. Like people are allowed to feel whatever they want to feel. But to answer your question is like, no, I'm going to listen to whatever I want. Like freaking Mortal Kombat came out this weekend and like, I'm like all for fatalities, people get their heads bashed in and stuff. But there's going to be some people who might not allow that because they're like, oh no, I don't want to like put that stuff in my head. But I'm like, no, I need to see Scorpion freaking get over here to Sub-Zero and whatever.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I just wonder, and I'll kind of get off that, but I was guilty enough to have struggled with that when I was younger. I remember because there was a time where I was like, well, I'm just going to listen to, those metalcore bands that are like Fit for a King, or they kind of bring that to the, or like August Burns Red or whatever. And like and I remember a time where I was just like, if it had to do anything with the devil, I'd just like stay the fuck away from it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'm just like really insecure with like what I believe in. Maybe I'm really insecure with my beliefs.
That's it.
And
that's 100% it. You grew as a person, and you like challenged yourself to kind of get out of that mindset.
I don't know. That's interesting, man. So I don't know if anyone's listening and you're struggling with that, man. I think if you're secure in your beliefs, man, like what you put into your head, be mindful of it, but that doesn't make you who you are,
Yeah, no, that's exactly it.
All right, so I want to ask this because I was on this fucking like marathon thing with this show that just came out. It's called Them. It's on Amazon. Have you heard about it?
I've not watched it, but I know about it.
Okay. So if you're able to watch it, I would watch it. It's pretty scary, but it's more dramatic than anything. But I've been stuck on the show, man. I really wanted to plug this like as just like hey, check it out. If you're bored and you want to watch something cool on TV, that's what I've been watching. So that's
it's definitely on my list, because I know it seems to be influenced by Jordan Peele and like Get Out and Us, and then freaking Lovecraft Country kind of came out last year, and I love this new genre of black filmmakers making art like based on their history and stuff. Super dope.
Is insane, is so dope. And there are some like trigger warnings, I will say, but I feel like you already probably know that, but just like watching the trailer. But there are some trigger warnings, but if you look at the intention, it's very artful, it's so beautiful, and it's well shot. I don't know, man, that's been like what I've been obsessed with lately, honestly. I'm not even gonna
love it.
But anyway, dude, thanks for your time. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I know you got better things going on today, I'm sure. But it's been a pleasure. It's been a real treat, man.
Trust me, dude. I could sit here and talk about music and movies and stuff forever. So I love it. I appreciate you having us on and supporting the scene and stuff. You're doing some cool stuff out here. Just getting people to listen to new bands and promoting stuff, and that's so important to our scene. So I appreciate that,
dude. Thanks a lot, man. So before we head out, is there anything that you want to share? Any final thoughts you want to leave behind before we head out?
Yeah, our debut album, Funeral Psalms, is out now. If you want to follow us on Instagram, our Instagram handle is the Undertaking Rocks. We appreciate you taking the 1 second of your time to press that like button or follow button. And then my 2 cents, man, is if you follow any band you support, a huge thing that you could do is follow on Spotify. And that goes for us, but anybody else that you support. And just appreciate you guys. Anybody who's listening to the album, we appreciate it. And yeah, follow us on Spotify, throw our songs in a playlist. And then, if you got like a spare 20 something bucks, buy a shirt. I know times are tough and it's hard to, you're always spending money on stuff, but that's a huge thing for us. So the Undertaking at 𝕺𝖕𝖎𝖘𝖙 you can grab some merch. Jim Hughes and a guy named Trey Hales did our merch stuff. So they crushed all the stuff that we have out there. Dude. Appreciate you listening to our stuff.
Hell yeah. I'm going to have to grab some merch also. But dude, that was it. And that was fun. So I'll stop recording and we'll get out of here. But hey, if you're still listening, thanks a lot. We're playing The Undertaking's music, so stick around and listen to some songs. We're going to head out. But have a good one. See you next week. Okay, that was it. You are a real one. If you have made it this far, I fucking love it. That's all I can say. You are a real one. You support the fuck out of this podcast, and I do appreciate you a lot. So, before we head out, I gotta plug some shit. Hit follow, like, subscribe, hit that notification button, okay? You don't want to miss out on shit to come. They can literally drop at any moment. You can support the podcast. There's links in the description. I just appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And before we head out, we are going to listen to some more of The Undertaking. Who'd you think? Okay, we're going to play No Friends. Thanks again to Austin. Thank you so much, my friend, for being on the show. You are a cool-ass dude, and I do appreciate your company. So, thank you. And also, shout out Solid State. Love this fucking record label. You guys are fucking awesome. Have a good night or day, whatever. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you next week with more shit to come. Let's hang out. Listen to some more music. It's not over yet.
Disappear.
shine on.
Hell yeah.